number of questions here in this panel to see how things have been running. The first question would be that, the internal quality assurance trainings that we've had were 4 trainings with a regional approach as part of the HAQAA2 project. The first cohort was covering East Africa and Anglophone North Africa. The second cohort was covering West Africa and Francophone North Africa. The third cohort was covering Central Africa. And the fourth cohort was covering Southern Africa and the Lusophone countries. That was done with a simultaneous translation between English and Portuguese. The trainings were originally planned as 1-week intensive training units in presence. As I said before, due to the pandemic, we had to change this to an online format, 1-week online training, which is also quite intensive, I think, for the participants. Sit in front of a computer an entire day can be very tiresome. The target group of these trainings were quality assurance managers at universities with a focus on internal quality assurance.
So the first part A of the African Standards and Guidelines. And each quality assurance agency or ministry in those countries where the agency is not yet set up was contacted and informed about the training course. The agencies and the ministry submitted up to 4 applications, and the strategic partners and DAD selected the best 2 applicants. So from each country, there were 2 persons who participated in these trainings. So that makes a total of approximately 100 people undergoing those training sessions.
The selection of the participants and the training program, as well as the selection of experts in the conduction of the course, was done in very close cooperation with the regional strategic partners, which are on the panel today. And I'd like to thank you for helping us and embarking on this journey together with us. I know this has been also pulling your resources. And we're very thankful that you collaborated so fruitfully with us in this process. We very much appreciate the collaboration and the partnership with the regional partners, which also enabled us to conduct tailor-made trainings, really dealing with the different needs and the different regions, and then adapted to the regional context. Because obviously, as we all know, the state of development of both internal and external quality assurance is different in different sub-regions of the African continent. So, we have a number of questions that we sent to the participants before. I'd first like to give the floor to Martin online from Sarua about the experiences from these training courses. Whether you feel that the regional approach has been feasible and useful for this, what are the advantages or disadvantages in the regional approach, and also the question of the change of the format from presence physical training to an online format. What do you think have been the biggest achievement of the training courses? And which aspects of the training for internal quality assurance are of particular importance? Which topics should receive more attention for the future? And then also possibly how to link internal and external quality assurance. So, Martin, you're first online. I hope you can hear us and we can hear you. Please, the floor is yours. I think we have to tune up the volume a little bit.
Okay, maximum on my volume, so it might be the setting on the speakers. I understood I should be prepared to speak about the mode of delivery, the online versus the advantages and disadvantages. Is it okay if I speak only about that, or do you want me to speak about some of the other issues as well?
Well, maybe focus on the question of the online first, and then we can come back to the other issues later.
My response is that I don't think you can address the issue actually situation for presenting online was very favorable because the participants were motivated. They had to submit motivations for their participation. They're mature learners, they're professionals. They should have the motivation and the self-discipline to cope with some of the challenges of online learning, such as learning motivation and transaction distance. They have clearly defined roles and responsibilities and a clear idea of their capacity development needs. And the learning material is mainly conceptual and theoretical, and the laboratory in which they should apply this training is their own university. So, given this kind of context, I think that the online mode has advantages. Obviously, it has got practical advantages in terms of cost benefits and time benefits to the participants and to the trainers. But it all depends on the thoughtfulness with which the online learning environment is designed. And by design, I mean choices about technological platforms, the selection of pedagogical approaches and learning supports. So, and we know that the online learning environment is evolving extremely rapidly. Technology solutions such as Zoom and Teams, Moodle, Canvas, and so on are exponentially improving their capabilities. So I think the online learning environment lends itself more and more to a learning environment that allows you to have a more humanizing approach to the provision of training and learning. Obviously, there are challenges. The most important thing is to know how to design an online learning environment that takes the needs of the participants into account. You need an onboarding process to help the participants and the facilitators to understand the capabilities of the various technological platforms. And so I think, as was the case with the HAQAA training program, the fact that there was an onboarding session was extremely important. I was very pleasantly surprised when I read the feedback to the three training workshops that was developed by HAQAA, and that feedback along 5 dimensions of the online learning environment was extremely positive, more than I would have thought. So it was feedback on the dimensions of the general experience of the online learning environment, the learning platform, teaching methods, learning support from trainers, project consultants, and the central team at the University of Potsdam, and importantly, opportunities for exchange amongst the participants. Now, obviously, you must take this participant feedback into, you must appreciate the context. There was no other choice. They weren't being asked to evaluate the merits of online versus blended or purely face-to-face learning, but still a very positive response. In terms of potential disadvantages, there's the challenge of access to sufficient internet connectivity and devices, and there's the reality that there's an element of socialization and serendipity that takes place in the more formal interactions in physical events. So I don't think that online-only training course is the correct approach for HAQAA, and I do think that HAQAA, in its blended approach, is following the right approach with a good rationale for each training workshop, which is held physically in the face environment, and then between those physical training events, the online support for the participants. So that's my response. Thank you.
Martin, sorry. For this, yes,
for your contribution. I hope everybody could understand this. We had some technical issues. Yeah. Yeah, we agree. I think the lesson learned is that online formats do work. Physical formats are preferable, especially when it comes to practical issues. That's quite clear. And we will have to see for the future what can be actually realized and what is possible in terms of both physical and or online formats. The next question would go to Jaspar. That will be, what is your take on the regional approach for the trainings? What are the advantages of a regional approach? And which aspects deserve particular attention when we work regionally? And possibly, are there, from your perspective, any disadvantages? And if so, which disadvantages would you see in a regional approach? And by the way, everybody can speak English, French, or Portuguese, because we do have simultaneous translation. So whatever language you feel most comfortable in.
Thank you very much. My name is Gaspard Banyankimbona, and I'm the Executive Secretary in the University Council for East Africa. For the purpose of this panel, I have prepared a small presentation of 7 slides. For those who can see, the first slide is just highlighting the East African community as it is today. I'm going to have like 3-4 talking points. The first one is maybe why we appreciate the regional approach in terms of quality assurance training. Number 2, we are going to share the experience of East African community. Number 3, we are going also to share the aspect to be considered as we train quality assurance actors. And lastly, as I conclude, I will come back to the challenge that we are facing in regional approach. The regional approach for us is a good opportunity as it seeks to put training in the context, especially for our case, the context of the region, the East African region. It has its own reality, its own history. So all those have to be put in a context, and that help us move the agenda of quality assurance. Number 2, the quality assurance trainings which were conducted in East Africa were based on practice. It was based on practice, and participants could share their own experience from their own institutions, and that was very, very exciting. And number 3, the regional trainings that were conducted in East Africa were in cohorts, different cohorts, and they were organized by HAQAA under the support of DAAD. So I would take this opportunity to thank DAAD for that particular support that have impacted the quality assurance practice in the region. In total, 4 cohorts of training were organized, and you can see there the image. For those who can see, please come back. You can see the image of the last training that happened in 2016. We are willing to, to resume with those training. The stakeholders are willing to come back. It was very exciting, and this is a recommendation of our East African Quality Assurance Network. So how was this done? The universities first have the role to identify senior staff that can participate according to what they do in the institution, according to what they have to share with the other participants. A National Commissioner or National Council for Higher Education were also requested to send senior staff to participate in the training. And the international trainers were identified by DAAD, and the regional trainers identified both by Inter-University Council for East Africa and the National Council or National Commission for Higher Education. And the trainers themselves developed appropriate modules and a handbook to guide the practice. I will come back to that. And IUCA was charged with the coordination of the whole process, and the trainings happened in different cities in all East African countries, whereby participants were given an opportunity to benchmark, to make a site visit in institution and see what is happening there, and have interaction with the practice on the ground. You have the picture of a training happening, and that one was happening in Burundi. What was the focus of the training? The training were based on 4 handbook. We call them, as you can see on the image, a roadmap to quality. And actually they are popular in the region. Some even call them the Bible of higher education. They are in 4 volumes. and they were focusing on how to assess programs, both internal and external, how to assess an institution in all aspects of it, how to establish and assess an internal quality assurance system, and how to organize trainings, sensitization workshop in quality assurance in universities, and training on how to plan the quality assurance activities, projects, and so on. What is the rationale for a regional approach? Number one, it's cost effective. It brings together participants from individual partner states on one central point, and the experience sharing can happen from there. And regional coordination becomes much easier. A challenge in coordination are minimized, and the training has a kind of multiplier effect and impact. I will also come back to that in next slide. And those trainings helped strengthening our own quality assurance unity as a regional organization, but also the quality assurance practices in National Commission and National Council for Higher Education, but also in institutions. And it facilitates the trainees approach, whereby someone who is trained become a lead change agent and champion of quality assurance in their institution and their country and over the region. And it takes into account the political, socioeconomic, and the cultural context. I asked myself, we had not such a policy of tracing the people who were trained. In total, we have around 100 people who were trained during those training, and we try to trace what they happened after the training. I'm just giving a 5 example. The first example is Professor Mike Kuria. The time he was trained, he was a quality assurance officer at Daystar University, that is in Kenya. He later became the Deputy Executive Secretary of Inter-University Council for East Africa, and now he's the CEO of the Commissioner for University Education in Kenya. That means he's at the center of the quality assurance practice in Kenya. Number 2, we have Professor Mike Mawa, who at the time of the training was a quality assurance director at Nkumba University, that is in Uganda. Later, he became a deputy vice chancellor. He became later a chief principal quality assurance at IUCA, whereby he's now the top champion of quality assurance in the region. We have number 3, Professor Frederick, who at the time he was trained, he was a quality assurance director at École Normale Supérieure in Burundi. Now he's a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Higher Education in Burundi. We have Dr. Morris, who at the time he was a director of higher education at a university college, and now is a vice chancellor at Edward University. And lastly, we have Dr. Abdallah Baguma, who was working for Higher Education Council in Rwanda. Now he's a quality assurance director at a university in Rwanda. He's the president of our East African Quality Assurance Network, and he is also a HAQAA ambassador. Chairperson, to conclude, yes, we agree that regional training are the best way to go, but it has a challenge. Because it has a limited exposure to the best practice that can happen all over the world. But again, we can still manage to bring in, trainers from all over the world to fill that gap. It also requires several training as opposed to the one-off training. You can't just train them one day and say, I'm done. There is a need to update, and training to be organized sometimes in cohorts. So that is also a challenge. But again, it is our belief that regional training still matters if you compare them to continental approach or to national approach. I submit.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Jasper, for sharing those experiences from East Africa. Maintenant, la prochaine question est pour mon ami de CAMES, Zachary Liré. Zachary, selon vous, quelles sont les plus grandes réussites des cours de formation d'assurance qualité interne de la initiative HAQAA?
Donc, je voudrais d'abord remercier les organisateurs de cette conférence d'avoir bien voulu associer le CAMES à cette rencontre qui est vraiment importante. C'est le lieu aussi de rappeler que le CAMES joue un rôle majeur dans l'harmonisation et des politiques et des systèmes d'enseignement supérieur au sein de l'espace CAMES de 19 pays membres. Je voudrais également dire que le CAMES, en tant qu'organisation régionale, a une mission pour l'assurance qualité, pour l'accréditation et se déploie vraiment à insuffler cette culture-là au niveau des pays membres, au niveau des institutions d'enseignement supérieur, notamment à travers deux programmes clés là, qui sont le programme reconnaissance et équivalence des diplômes, mais également le programme d'assurance qualité qui est une partie de la vision stratégique de développement du CAMES. Donc, le CAMES en tant que, bien sûr, partenaire stratégique de HAQAA2, donc participe activement aux activités de ce projet-là et a mis en œuvre avec HAQAA, avec des partenaires, la formation très accueillie à l'endroit des universités membres de son espace. Donc, ce que je voulais dire par rapport à Train accueilli en particulier, en termes de résultats, c'est une formation qui est basée sur des projets institutionnels. Je crois que ça c'est un des points forts qui fait que les gens travaillent directement sur des préoccupations institutionnelles, des préoccupations de transformation de leurs institutions. Et ça, c'est quand même un élément majeur, un élément important en termes de succès, je pense, à noter. Le deuxième élément, c'est que il y a comme une mise ensemble des expertises, c'est comme une communauté qui se met en place, une communauté d'apprenants où les gens partagent leur expérience, où les gens... Any problem?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, you can keep it.
OK. Je vais continuer. Donc je disais, c'est qu'un des éléments importants pour nous, c'est qu'on a une sorte de mise en commun, c'est une communauté de pratique qui se met en place autour des questions de l'assurance qualité. Donc, les gens qui sont formés partagent leur expérience.
What's wrong? There seems to be a technical problem with the translation. Participants saying there's no translation from French to English. Okay. And no Portuguese either, so seems to be a problem with the translation technology. Missions.
Yeah.
Okay. Try again.
OK. Est-ce que je peux continuer? Il y a la traduction maintenant?
The translation back? No?
Ah.
Okay.
This is problem. So
The miracles of technology, huh?
we have to wait.
Approach.
On continue. Oui, on continue. Oui.
OK, donc je vais continuer. Donc, je disais que le deuxième élément que je note en termes de succès, c'est vraiment la mise en place d'une véritable communauté de pratique. Pour nous, c'est vraiment important que les gens puissent se parler, les gens puissent échanger leurs expériences et puis les gens puissent collaborer plus tard dans des projets. Et nous avons vu qu'au niveau de l'espace CAMES, à cause de cette formation-là, beaucoup de réseaux, beaucoup de collaborations se sont mises en place avec ANAQ-Soup, avec d'autres partenaires pour renforcer les capacités au niveau des universités. En tout cas, c'était vraiment c'est une véritable communauté de pratique qui s'est mise en place à travers cette formation. Ça, c'est vraiment un point positif. Le troisième point que je voudrais relever, c'est la question d'harmonisation qui est essentielle pour le CAMES, parce que nous mettons ensemble beaucoup de pays et le CAMES, en tant qu'instance d'harmonisation, est vraiment fier de participer à cette initiative parce que ça permet au CAMES de partager la vision qu'elle a sur l'harmonisation, sur l'enseignement supérieur, sur les questions de qualité, mais vraiment en cohérence avec les ASG et tout ce qui se met en place au niveau africain. Donc, c'est vraiment un élément important pour nous de voir que cette formation-là contribue véritablement de façon très pratique, pas dans les discours, mais dans les faits, à traduire concrètement l'harmonisation, la question de l'harmonisation de l'enseignement supérieur dans les pays, dans les institutions. Donc, voilà les trois éléments de succès pour moi, les trois éléments clés qui font de cette formation un levier essentiel de transformation de l'enseignement supérieur dans notre espace et bien au-delà de l'espace africain. Donc, merci.
Merci, Zachary. Now the next question goes to our colleague Johansson Eid in Egypt, who's hopefully also with us online. Johansson, you there? Well, the question is which aspects of the training for HAQAA are of particular importance and which topics should receive even more attention in the future. So I hope, Johansson, you can hear us, and I hope we can sort out the technology that we can also hear you.
Can you hear me? Hi.
You
Hello?
have to switch the volume. Technicians, can you switch up the volume a little bit?
I can hear you very well.
Yes, okay, now we can hear you. It's not very loud, so I'm sorry for having to ask you this, but you will have to speak very loudly, almost scream, so we can hear you properly here. But thank you very much for joining us online. Johansson, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you very much. And I'll try my best to speak very loudly, okay? So the question that was addressed to me was which aspect of training for HAQAA is particularly important and which topics should receive more, even more attention in the future. Basically, I used the training that was done online for the HAQAA2 project as a case study, so that I can discuss that, since we as an institution do not do training for internal quality assurance per se. We are more of the external quality assurance thing, so that's why we do that. Can I ask you a question? If you can see me, can you see me, Stefan?
We cannot see you, but we hear you very well now,
Okay,
which is already something.
Yeah, well, that's good, because I can't see me either. I have my video on, but I can't see me. So I'll just switch the video off, then you can see the picture then. All right. So basically, I think with the benefits or the insight, the aspects of the training that were very good at that time were introducing everybody, the trainees, to the HAQAA action lines. And I think this was important because I believe that we needed a lot of dissemination for the ASGQA and for the HAQAA and all that. So I guess this was done. This was one of the aspects, and I've asked some of my colleagues who participated in the training, either online or the ones that were before, and I guess they all said this was very important, although it could be done from a different perspective. I guess what was also very important, I guess this was what my colleagues discussed before, was the regional and the regional and continental aspects of the understanding quality assurance within the context. And so basically, I think it was very important for everybody to understand the challenges, that the challenges are not particularly pertaining to the country, but as a matter of fact, if we understand it in the context of the region and the continent as a whole, I think this is one of the important quality assurance issues that should be considered as well. I guess the contextualization also of HAQAA is very important, because with the ASG, we are discussing we were always discussing the how it is that we don't want people to conform. We just want more of the harmonization. And I guess by contextualization here, I don't only mean in the essence of the region, but rather even within Egypt itself, because we always say that when we go out for EQA, external quality assurance, or for auditing and so on, we always try to look at the institutions' missions and what they really want to do and what the role is. And so basically everybody has to conform with their with the context within the work-in and what they really would like the graduates or the everybody to look like. And then I guess one of the important issues also that that also comes out is that people, for IQA, people have to understand that it is the responsibility of the higher education institution, not only the team that's working or the managers who are the quality assurance agents, but rather everybody else who works within the institution, leadership, ministries, agencies, professors, students, and all. And another aspect that should be taken in, or topics that should be taken more into consideration, I guess, was more hands-on training or hands-on application for, and like I said, I asked my colleagues who participate some more, but maybe that was difficult on the level of the online training, and I think they have to have more understand the difference or the relationship between internal and external quality assurance, and tend to be more reflective in the analyses and in their internal quality assurance, and what how they evaluate themselves. I guess this is what I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johansen, and all the best greetings to Cairo. For the very valuable contribution. You've already, with your contribution, you've marked a good switch to the next question, qui sera encore en français, à notre collègue Lamine Gueye de l'ANAQ-Sup du Sénégal. Et la question, c'est à vous, faut-il lier l'assurance qualité interne et externe? Et si la réponse à cette question est oui, comment est-ce qu'on fait ça en pratique, en réalité?
Merci beaucoup, Président Stéphane. Je voudrais remercier les organisateurs de cette réunion et notamment Obréal Global qui porte le projet HAQAA2 et l'ensemble de ses partenaires. La réponse est oui. Je pense qu'il faut lier obligatoirement l'assurance qualité interne à l'assurance qualité externe. Et je vous dirai pourquoi en nous inspirant de l'expérience de l'ANAQ-Sup du Sénégal sur le lien entre ces deux, mais aussi en tant qu'observateur privilégié des autres pays africains qui sont au niveau du réseau que nous avons l'honneur de présider, c'est-à-dire le RAFANAC, Réseau africain francophone des agences nationales d'assurance qualité, dont d'ailleurs les principaux leaders sont ici présents. Je vois la Guinée, je vois la Mauritanie, je vois le Mali, le Sénégal évidemment là, la Côte d'Ivoire, le Burkina Faso. On est 16 pays maintenant. Et quand on regarde ce qui se passe dans ces pays sur le lien assurance qualité interne, assurance qualité externe, on peut en conclure que ce sont deux leviers qui œuvrent pour le même système, l'assurance qualité. Je les compare à un très beau jardin avec sa terre très fertile, nourricière et ses beaux arbres avec de belles fleurs et des fruits. Les deux sont liés. On ne peut pas dissocier la terre fertile et les beaux arbres pour parler d'un beau jardin. Là aussi, si l'assurance qualité interne ne fonctionne pas, l'assurance qualité externe a du mal à s'exprimer, à faire son rôle principal qui est d'aller vers une amélioration continue de ce qui se fait dans le système d'enseignement supérieur. Comment y arriver? C'est la question importante. Je pense que dans un premier niveau, il faudrait qu'au niveau de chaque pays, donc au niveau national, qu'il y ait une ferme volonté politique d'assurer l'assurance qualité, d'impulser l'assurance qualité dans l'enseignement supérieur. Parce que c'est ce niveau politique qui permet l'engagement du gouvernement, des gouvernements. C'est ce niveau politique aussi qui permet de prendre les textes qui régissent aussi bien l'assurance qualité interne que externe. Ce sont ces textes qui vont rendre obligatoire l'exécution de l'assurance qualité interne dans les établissements, mais aussi qui vont donner de la légitimité à l'agence chargée de faire les évaluations, de faire des recommandations, de jouer son rôle. Sans ces textes, cela traîne. On voit deux allures quand on est dans le RAFANAC. Les pays qui ont pris des textes, qui ont créé l'agence vont assez vite. Les pays pour lesquels la prise de texte traîne, les agences ne sont pas créées malgré une bonne volonté des établissements à avoir une assurance qualité interne. On sent qu'il y a des efforts importants à faire. Comment les lier maintenant sur le plan opérationnel? Mais c'est d'avoir une agence forte qui est reconnue, qui a une capacité de décider, donc c'est l'autonomie de décision scientifique, mais aussi qui a les ressources humaines. Et ça, c'est la formation des experts, c'est majeur. Donc, après les textes, c'est la création de l'agence, mais aussi former les experts. Et il est important de savoir que quand on forme les experts, qui sont principalement issus des établissements d'enseignement supérieur, on est en train de préparer ce lien fort assurance qualité interne externe. Parce que ça va donner lieu à ce qu'on appelle l'évaluation par les pairs. Et sans l'évaluation par les pairs, c'est évident qu'au niveau des universités, l'assurance qualité externe ne pourra pas exercer pleinement ses missions. Après avoir engagé les formations, donc ça, normalement, c'est l'autorité chargée de l'assurance qualité externe qui assume ces formations au niveau national, il est important d'installer les structures qui doivent gérer l'assurance qualité interne et de les formaliser. Ça aussi, c'est majeur. Si je prends l'exemple du Sénégal, dès que l'ANAQ a été mise en place, les formations se sont déroulées, mais parallèlement, l'État a accompagné les universités à avoir chacune sa cellule interne d'assurance qualité. Et je crois que là, le lien a existé dès le début, ce qui nous a permis d'avoir actuellement l'ensemble des établissements publics d'enseignement supérieur ont eu leur évaluation et leur accréditation, et on en est à plus de 100 établissements d'enseignement supérieur privés qui ont aussi eu leur accréditation. Nous en sommes à plus de 300 experts formés. Et actuellement, la question de dire est-ce qu'il faut impulser l'assurance qualité externe dans nos établissements ne se pose plus. Quand on est au niveau régional, je crois que c'est important pour avoir une même dynamique et aller vers l'harmonisation que prône justement le projet HAQAA, pour lequel aussi il y a eu beaucoup de résultats faits pendant ces 7 ans. Je crois qu'il est important aussi d'appuyer les réseaux. Les réseaux comme le RAFANAC, les réseaux comme le CNAC, les réseaux comme celui portugais qui vient de naître. Mais aussi, c'est important qu'il y ait un dialogue permanent avec les institutions, les associations internationales. Le RAFANAC s'est beaucoup appuyé sur l'AIF. On a tendance à citer l'AIF comme partenaire parce que l'AIF agit déjà dans les universités. Et c'est important aussi de s'appuyer sur les expériences de formation en assurance qualité que l'AIF ou d'autres organismes ont déjà pris. Il est important aussi que l'assurance qualité externe s'appuie sur l'expérience des structures sous-régionales comme le CAMES, comme l'UCA qui a pris la parole. Voilà donc les stratégies que nous pensons pertinentes pour lier l'assurance qualité interne-externe et surtout avoir des résultats. Le résultat ne doit pas être que de dire on a fait des évaluations. Le résultat, je crois que c'est être capable de citer des impacts, être capable de dire voilà ce que le lien assurance qualité interne-externe a pu avoir comme amélioration continue de la qualité dans le système d'enseignement supérieur. Je crois que si, après quelques années de lien, on peut citer des impacts réels comme l'amélioration dans la pédagogie, l'amélioration dans la gouvernance des institutions d'enseignement supérieur, l'appropriation de la démarche qualité par la communauté estudiantine, par la communauté du personnel administratif, technique et de service, par la communauté des enseignants, par les chercheurs, on peut dire que le lien a pu produire des résultats. Merci, c'est cela que je voulais vous exposer et nous sommes disponibles pour répondre à d'autres questions éventuellement.
Merci. Merci beaucoup pour partager ces expériences très riches de l'expérience du Sénégal. Hein. Maintenant, je vais changer encore une fois en anglais. And the next question goes to Maria Luisa Chicote. As I said, unfortunately, I cannot translate that to Portuguese myself. Lamine Gay has already touched on this. Lamine has already touched upon this, Maria Luisa, but why is the link between IQA and EQA so important? And what benefits do you see also from the experience in Mozambique and in the greater Lusophone context in Africa?
Sim, desculpe, muito obrigada. Eu também queria aproveitar essa oportunidade para agradecer a todos os organizadores e o grupo de implementação do HAQAA2 e, em particular, ao Breal, na qualidade de coordenador deste grupo. Eu comungo com o que os meus colegas, em particular o presidente da ANACSUP, em relação à importância da autoavaliação e da avaliação externa. E em relação à questão que me foi colocada, por que é importante a ligação da autoavaliação e da avaliação externa? O primeiro aspecto que eu queria sublinhar é que no processo das nossas práticas nós conseguimos perceber que a autoavaliação é um elemento, digamos assim, nucleador de todo o processo da avaliação. E sendo um processo de reflexão, de autoanálise, ele é fundamental no processo da autoavaliação, porque ele permite a recolha de informação sem uma reflexão que nos dá o momento em que nós nos encontramos e nos permite olhar para frente, para aquilo que nós pretendemos alcançar. Penso que a própria cultura de qualidade que nós temos que desenvolver, ela fica comprometida. Nessa senda, eu diria que a relação entre a autoavaliação, que é um processo de reflexão, de autoanálise, e na sua confirmação a partir dos processos de avaliação externa, nos permite traçar metas mais realísticas e assim ela funciona como uma válida fonte de informação. Sendo importante também nesse processo notar que a própria autoavaliação se vista a partir da responsabilidade das instituições do ensino superior, nós podemos perceber que quanto mais ela é autêntica, quanto mais ela é transparente, ela reduz, em relação ao processo de autoavaliação, reduz os níveis de conflito entre esses dois níveis de avaliação. Queria, em relação a isso, partilhar uma experiência de Moçambique. Ao longo deste ano, nós recebemos, depois de processos de avaliação, 2 pedidos de reanálise dos resultados de 2 instituições de ensino superior. Num primeiro momento, como grupo, alguns colegas ficaram assustados, mas analisada essa situação, nós percebemos que é muito importante porque uma cultura de qualidade, ela se funda nesse processo de autoavaliação. E quando a instituição ela é consciente das suas necessidades, dos seus ganhos, da sua evolução, ela não se submete ao processo de avaliação externa sem consciência. Ela é consciente do ponto de situação em que se encontra e de onde ela pretende alcançar. E, portanto, ela sabe o que é que ela está a buscar e como é que ela deve buscar. E, nesse sentido, eu gostaria de evidenciar que, realmente, a ligação entre a autoavaliação e a avaliação externa, ela permite reduzir essas margens de conflito. Um outro aspecto e benefício para o nosso contexto é o fato de que Uma robusta autoavaliação, ela permite a apropriação, tanto desses mecanismos, sobretudo da autonomia das instituições do ensino superior. Por um longo tempo, até o momento, acredito que seja a experiência de alguns países, a implementação dos processos de avaliação externa ou da própria garantia da qualidade no geral, ela é vista como uma força externa. E quando nós temos esses processos de autoavaliação autênticos, transparentes, íntegros, permitem que as instituições elas se apropriem de todo um conjunto de referências para o desenvolvimento dos próprios sistemas de garantia de qualidade. E em termos de benefícios para o contexto moçambicano, nós temos neste momento, podemos afirmar categoricamente que mais de 50% das nossas instituições de ensino superior, elas já implantaram órgãos de garantia de qualidade, ou melhor, unidade de garantia de qualidade, e possui as próprias referências em termos de indicadores, padrões de qualidade inseridos no próprio contexto e em base às necessidades e às metas que emergem dos próprios processos de autoavaliação. E um outro benefício que nós poderíamos aqui apontar em relação à relação entre a autoavaliação e a avaliação externa é que nós percebemos que os dois processos, ao envolverem vários autores, eles permitem esta co-construção. E para nós um grande benefício foi mesmo a possibilidade de, nesse processo de co-construção, tanto com os avaliadores externos, as instituições do ensino superior, refletir sobre os indicadores que precisam ser revistos em base ao nosso contexto, e assim podemos melhorar, integrando também aquelas que são as novas demandas, em particular até aqueles que foram os desafios da Covid-19. E também, já termino, outro benefício para nós foi perceber que o desenvolvimento de sistemas de qualidade e a própria harmonização do ensino superior, ela precisa ser mais disseminada, precisa ser também alargada para outros atores. E um exemplo muito simples, nós começamos nos últimos dias a formar jornalistas, porque nós percebemos que os processos de garantia de qualidade eles estão de uma função social muito crítica, e é preciso que todos os nossos autores gradualmente consigam perceber o que é que nós entendemos ao falarmos de padrões de garantia de qualidade no nosso contexto. Muito obrigada.
Thank you, Maria Luisa, for sharing this. Muito obrigado. And also, this brings me back to what Elizabeth said earlier on. I think this is also a learning experience from the HAQAA2 project. We managed to get the Lusophone community better engaged than before by offering more translation between Portuguese, not only English and French, but we've included Portuguese. Maybe we can think about Arabic as well for the future. That's been a message that Johansson has been giving us several times when she was with us. But I think we have to embrace this multilingualism as well. So thank you very much for your contribution. Last not least, before we end the panel, I would like to ask each and every panelist, starting with Martin and then Johansson online, and then continuing with Jaspar. What is the key learning effect that you take away with you from these experiences in the HAQAA2 project? One sentence per person. I know that this is difficult, but try to sum it up in one sentence. What is the key takeaway thing, the takeaway experience from the HAQAA2 initiative? Martin.
Can you hear me?
Oh.
Okay. Wonderful initiative. My recommendation is extend the partnership between DART and SARUA beyond the time frame of the Train HAQAA course, and so that SARUA and DART can work together to support participants in the implementation of their projects. I hope I wasn't speaking too loudly, but I did it to make sure you can hear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. Johansson, your takeaway message?
Yes, I would, you can hear me, right? Okay. Okay. Well, I would say it's never lose hope. That at the heart of all this, and the focus of our work, is a better learning environment for the students, for the learners. But somehow we tend to make this about us. So I've been in this journey for 2-3 years now. And I guess somehow we sometimes lose the focus of the students. So we should always consider them at the heart of our work. And Arabic, okay?
That message has come across very well, Johansson.
Thank you. But I should have said that before. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. Jasper, what is your key takeaway message from this experience?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. In my understanding, the quality assurance-based practice are universal. And if higher education is to create a great impact in terms of facilitating the free movement of skills, then harmonization is a must. Thank you.
You, Lamine?
Je retiendrai l'importance du renforcement de capacité qui a été effectué pendant le projet HAQAA. Renforcement de capacité en matière d'assurance qualité, mais par la vulgarisation des HAQAA. Je pense que c'est majeur et c'est quelque chose qui reste et s'inscrit dans la durée.
Zachary?
Moi, je voulais terminer mon propos en insistant sur le fait du renforcement des capacités, mais qui met clairement en lien l'assurance qualité interne, le fondement, et puis l'assurance qualité externe, tous ensemble qui convergent vers la transformation effective et qualitative de notre système d'enseignement supérieur et de recherche. Merci.
And Maria Luisa, you have the last word.
Em relação ao HAQAA2, eu devo dizer que para mim foi uma plataforma de aprendizagem mútua, foi uma plataforma, acho que o meu tradutor atrasou um pouquinho. Então, eu estava a dizer que a experiência do HAQAA para nós foi uma plataforma de mútua aprendizagem. É uma plataforma que, na nossa ótica, ela foca muito na inclusão. Tanto enquanto agências, nós desenvolvemos esta possibilidade de podermos estarmos juntos, e tanto a nível das nossas instituições. E é uma frase, para mim, o HAQAA significa preocupação com o outro. Cara, qual é esse outro? Obrigada.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the panelists, both here present and online. I think we learned that some takeaway messages for all of us, both to take back home in to each of our respective contexts, but also for future collaboration, is we have to move forward the harmonization agenda, capacity building, capacity enhancement, especially by spreading the African standards and guidelines for quality assurance into the wider community, remains an important issue. The link between internal and external quality assurance to make higher education contribute meaningfully to development, and to establish platforms for exchange regionally across linguistic and cultural barriers. Last but not least, Arabic, Hansen. And of course, that was, I think, also a very important message. We should not forget that this is not all about technicalities and technologies and standards and guidelines and how we do things, but at the end of the day, we do this to enhance the learning experience of the students. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello, Stefan. Sorry, but we are waiting. No intervention. We are here. Of course.
We can do this. I mean,
it's not planned.
there was not the discussion wasn't really planned at this point in time, and we can do that in the next session, I think, Sarah, or do we? After lunch. After lunch, we have a lot of time for discussion, okay?
Et ça, c'est un peu embêtant pour nous parce que tu réunis les gens là. Oui.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stefan, and the whole team for your presentation. Now going for the next session on the dissemination project as a means to strengthen the quality assurance culture in higher education. This session will be chaired by Sarah Lang. So the floor is yours, Sarah. Thank you.
So, dear colleagues, I've taken note. We are eager to discuss and to exchange. So this will be just a brief introduction of the dissemination projects. Then we will have lunch. And in the afternoon, we will have an extensive discussion about future HAQAA training needs. So please keep your questions and your comments. We will have time to discuss this in the afternoon. So now I'm happy to talk about the dissemination projects. And I'm happy to share the stage with Émile Zambo-Asembe. He is expert de CAMES en assurance qualité et secrétaire exécutif de la cellule assurance qualité et mobilité à l'Université Yaoundé 2. And my dear friend, Ketamoni Naidu, higher education expert and also HAQAA2 ambassador. And HAQAA, she was part of HAQAA1, exactly. And she is former director of accreditation at the Council of Higher Education in South Africa. These colleagues, the two, agreed to work together and to write an overarching report about the dissemination projects, to look at the impact, to look at lessons learned, and to give us some recommendations for future endeavors. So I'm happy to hear from you. They looked at all the reports, at all the projects, they conducted interviews, and we will hear from you. But to start with, I would like to give you an overview about the dissemination project. So we have heard we did 4 training courses. They had to be done online due to the pandemic. And as a follow-up measure, we launched a call for dissemination project. So the idea was the training course graduates can apply their knowledge, they can put into practice what they have learned, and they can further disseminate the knowledge, because we have heard we need each and every institution. We need each and everyone here in this room to further disseminate, to convince others, and to further disseminate the knowledge. So we split up, we created 2 lots. We have one larger dissemination project, which is done by 3 networks, Rafanak, Kanak, and HAQAA2. We will hear from them tomorrow. So today I will focus on lot 2. We have selected 14 national projects. So HAQAA2 ambassadors and HAQAA1 ambassadors were implementing their own project within the institution to further disseminate knowledge about the ASGQA and to really strengthen the quality assurance culture in the institution. So the objectives of this endeavor was really to disseminate and multiplicate knowledge related to the PAQAF and the ASGQA, to encourage also collaboration between IQA and EQA. So we really encouraged to contact your national agency, contact the Ministry of Education, work together with the regulatory bodies. And so we offered them to support further training activities. There were capacity building measures, policy dialogue events, etc. So, and just to give you a timeline, so we did the training courses in the first 2 years of the HAQAA2 initiative in 2020 and 2021. And now this year, the dissemination projects were running. And I'm very impressed given the little time the project coordinators had about the success of the projects. So we have selected 14 national projects. You will see the card. And I'm happy to squeeze in. We have prepared little videos. So I will not present the videos, but the projects, but the projects coordinator will present themselves. Yes, so here you see the map. We have covered all the regions. And now I'm happy to start with the first project in Egypt, done by Professor Amani El Sharif.
Welcome to ASG DASBA for dissemination of ASG among Arabic-speaking academic working in Quality Assurance Unit. We reached 244 participants through face-to-face workshops and online training for participants joined from 10 countries and representing 23 higher education institutions. 9,000 words were translated and representing 6 documents and adjusted by HAQAA2 program. We designed 6 training modules and reviewed by international quality assurance experts. We designed the first online platform for ASG in Arabic with English resources, and also provide 24/7 access, unlimited access through uploading all modules on YouTube. So simply ASG DASBA provide quality assurance key tools in Arabic to meet needs of more than 30% of African population and ensure inclusive harmonization. Thank you.
Next project was done by Dr. Richard Omar and Elizabeth Barabra in Uganda. They had a project focusing on training for quality assurance managers to create awareness and about the HAQAA. Unfortunately, we were not able to manage to include the video, but be assured that the project was well done. And I'm sure, Mouni, you can say a few words. You have read the report. So now we are moving on to Kenya.
I am Dr. Dera Kwach. I'm the project coordinator for the HAQAA initiative, which was undertaken in collaboration with the Commission for University Education Kenya. The project ran for a period of 6 months. The objectives were: 1, to review the self-assessment questionnaire of ODEL institutions and programs and align them to the ASGQA and AQRM. Number 2, to develop an evaluation tool for institutions and programs of ODEL to be used by peer reviewers and experts. Number 3, to train directors of ODEL centers in the preparation of self-assessment reports in preparation for accreditation of institutions and programs. The set objectives were achieved in various stakeholder engagement forums, workshops, where the 35 ODEL center directors were trained in collaboration with Commission for University staff and experts in ODEL. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the HAQAA2 initiative in according the Commission this support. Thank you.
Yes, next we have the project from Mauritius.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Mr. Vinetitan Divarajan from University of Technology. I'm the head of quality assurance. I'm here to present you the project we've undertaken under the aegis of HAQAA2 and Obriel. The title of the project is Capacity Building for a Shared Understanding of IQA System based on the ASGQA in Mauritian HEIs. The project took the form of a workshop which was run from 8 to 12 August this year at NSC Park Hotel in the center of the island. We had 47 participants, regrouping head of QAs, academic, students of both public and private universities. The project costed 11,900 euros. It was run by an expert of QA from South Africa, Professor Ketamuni Naidu, former director CHE, South Africa. We also implemented a website for the project, which is still available for further access. As a sustainable outcome of this project, we first put in place a WhatsApp group regrouping QA practitioners, and recently we have given a legal entity to this group in the form of a society, which is the Higher Education Quality Assurance Society, duly registered by the Mauritian government.
Okay, so now we're moving on to Mozambique, and just to let you know that this is just a short introduction of each project. After lunch, we have the time to engage and to have a networking session. There will be a poster presentation on this wall, so you are free to talk to the project coordinators and to further engage with them. So now Mozambique.
Chamo-me Dulce João Nunes Langa, coordenadora do projeto Construindo Cultura de Qualidade em Universidades e Sistemas. Dizer que esta foi uma iniciativa conjunta entre a Universidade de Rovuma e a Universidade de Licungo, ambas de Moçambique. Um dos grandes ganhos que nós tivemos neste projeto foi o envolvimento de quase todas as instituições de ensino superior num workshop realizado pelo projeto, e contamos com também a colaboração do CNAC. Em termos de resultados, conseguimos envolver a maior parte do número de gestores dos gabinetes de qualidade das instituições de ensino superior em Moçambique, e os temas abordados neste workshop foram sobretudo os da formação da HAQAA2. E estes gestores, por sua vez, fizeram a réplica nas suas instituições de origem. Muito obrigada.
Moving on to Zambia, and then I will give the floor to Muni.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Oscar Mwali from the University of Lusaka in Zambia, in the southern part of Africa. We are one of the beneficiaries of the HAQAA2 initiative, and we did implement a project under the theme Enhancing the Capacity of Quality Assurance Officers in Colleges and Universities. This project was done in collaboration with the Higher Education Authority, and a total of 45 participants were trained in internal quality assurance. Out of this workshop, a network and a platform was created where quality assurance officers are able to table out various issues, various challenges affecting quality in higher learning institutions here in Zambia. I thank you.
Thank you, and I'm very happy that the project coordinators are here with us today and within the next days to present their work. And I would say from my side that I was very impressed about the commitment, about the motivation they put into their projects. But now, Moni, what do you think? You have talked to all the project coordinators. What is your impression?
Yes, good afternoon, colleagues. I thought I'd just give you a glimpse of some of the common themes that have come through, some of the challenges, and I think it's going to be very useful for thinking about the future as well. So at this point, I mean, when I think about this, Elizabeth spoke about 7 years has gone into the HAQAA project. That's a long time. Lots of human resources and financial resources. And I'd love to know the actual count of how many people have ultimately been involved. But I think what the dissemination projects, especially the reports and the interviews, revealed is the reflections and the impact that these projects have actually had. And so firstly, it just showed that collaboration worked, the international and regional collaboration. That's an amazing model. What came through with a very, very diverse context in terms of the regulatory frameworks, the arrangements, the enrollments, etc. And therefore, what were those contextual differences on account of those diverse contexts? In terms of the content and the focus that these projects chose, internal quality assurance, of course, because that was the focus of HAQAA2, but it was also on the ASGs, the AQRM, and what I didn't expect was a big focus on the self-assessment reports or the self-evaluation reports, because it was found in many instances that there wasn't sufficient capacity to write those reports and produce the evidence. And so that was one of the areas that I didn't expect. Also, there was some refinement of the instruments and templates that is used for IQA and EQA, because in one of the instances, the EQA agency decided that they needed to refine their instruments because the problem of getting the poor reports was also because of the poor templates. Not all of it, but some items needed to be adjusted. The participants were mainly QA managers and regulators. That means the external quality assurance agencies. But what was also nice was in 2 instances to see students involved. The good practices that came out was, it wasn't a thumbs up. There was some thoughtfulness that went into the needs identification for what the workshop should be about. For example, ODEL came out as, in one country as a definite need. It was also found that despite the possibility of having online workshops and translating material and putting it online, etc., it wasn't enough to get people to understand and use that. So the physical workshops, the interactivity, and particularly participants valued sharing amongst each other the experiences they had and learning from those experiences. So it was not just from a facilitator to the participants, but it was a wonderful sharing amongst the participants. There were some joint projects that were put in, a few universities together. And in some instances, there was high prominence. There was TV coverage, a Minister of Education attending, heads of QAA attending, and this really gave the projects a lot of status. And then, Sarah, there was mention of your participation as well in both the opening and closing ceremonies, and it was really appreciated. So I think that is important feedback for you to know that your presence was really appreciated and mentioned. Sustainability is going to be a big concern because although there was in a case a learning management system, university websites, WhatsApp groups put in place, we heard about a society now, but all of those things need admin support. They will need resources, whether there's a HAQAA website that can support that. But if there isn't any attention to sustainability, then this work could actually die with HAQAA2. And now already we are seeing the flow, the cascading of this training, where there are other universities that didn't participate that are now asking people who did participate to please come and run workshops with them. There's also been QA forums and networks and created, and people are talking amongst each other and sharing resources. The challenges was that this was the workshops and the training was conceptualized during the time of COVID. And so the project coordinators did not know whether they would be able to run those physical workshops. It was also not possible to really budget for the venues, etc., at that time. And what came through was often things like tax was not taken into account when the budget was put together. And in more than one instance, there were complaints about only receiving 80% of the cash because there were activities that needed to be planned and paid for beforehand, and the universities in many instances did not have the funds for that. So getting the other 20% was a bit of a battle and put the whole project at risk in one instance. So in conclusion, a lot of the countries reported that they're still at the development stages of IQA and EQA. It's not fully established. So there is such a need for more capacity development. And the dissemination projects was just a wonderful way of getting the information disseminated into institutions, cascading this into institutions. A large number of people were involved and reached, but this was necessary, but it's not sufficient. So far, these were very broad areas, and what is needed are sharper and more in-depth understandings of certain almost technical aspects sometimes. And what we see, colleagues, is that you can see, I mean, I see people from HAQAA2 here as well, that this work will continue even after this. People have become ambassadors for the project. But one of the things that hasn't been mentioned is that the world of work and the world of higher education is just changing rapidly in dynamic and unpredictable ways. So whilst we are focusing on harmonizing, I think we also need to focus on the whole internationalization and unpredictability and on issues such as curriculum transformation and innovative pedagogies, etc. The work will have to just continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Moni, for your feedback and for your words. I'm happy to discuss this further. We have heard about the challenges and the advantages and the needs for the future. So now we will go back to the projects, and now we will look at the Francophone projects. We will start with les Comores.
Merci. Au niveau des Comores, le projet consiste à mettre en place une cellule d'assurance qualité au niveau de l'Université des Comores, mais aussi une dissémination de la formation sur l'harmonisation de l'assurance qualité. L'objectif principal est de former des cadres de l'Université des Comores à la démarche qualité en formation, plus particulièrement des formations scientifiques et technologiques en vue de constituer un noyau de compétences dans le domaine capable à très court terme d'engager notre université dans une démarche qualité plus globale. Comme vous le savez, des séances de sensibilisation et un atelier de formation ont eu lieu tout au long de notre programme et par conséquent, la décision numéro 22/10/UDC du 3 octobre 2022, l'Université des Comores dispose désormais d'une cellule d'assurance qualité.
Voilà. The next project was carried out by our colleagues from the Republic Democratic du Congo. Oh, it's Madagascar. Okay.
Le présent projet, porté par l'Université de Touliar, dans le sud de Madagascar, appuyé par le ministère de l'Enseignement supérieur et de la Recherche scientifique, ambitionne de développer la culture de la qualité dans les 6 universités publiques de Madagascar. Il s'agit d'atteindre une qualité reconnue à l'international en intégrant le mouvement panafricain par l'appropriation de l'HAQAA. Les principales activités sont l'observation du contexte national à l'aide des données collectées dans les 6 universités et ensuite des ateliers de réflexion et d'échange sur ces données afin de les confronter aux standards de qualité recommandés par l'HAQAA et les documents ministériels. Au final, nous avons abouti à l'élaboration d'un document national de référentiel qualité adapté au contexte et basé sur les références de qualité interne de la HAQAA.
Notre projet avait pour objectif principal le transfert des connaissances et compétences en assurance qualité interne et externe grâce à la dissémination de PACAF et HAQAA. À l'issue de ce projet, nous avons obtenu les résultats ci-après. 125 participants ont pris part à nos ateliers de formation qui représentaient 27 établissements d'enseignement supérieur universitaire de la République démocratique du Congo et ces 27 établissements étaient venus de 4 provinces. 3 établissements de la province du Haut-Katanga ont été accompagnés à l'auto-évaluation et ont pu produire 3 rapports d'auto-évaluation. Et enfin, nous avons produit un rapport de benchmarking qui comparait les différents résultats de qualité dans ces établissements.
Le projet utilisation des HAQAA dans l'amélioration de la démarche de qualité à l'Université du Burundi avait 4 activités à mener. Expliquer les HAQAA au point de focaux de l'assurance qualité de l'Université du Burundi. Expliquer les HAQAA au chef de service administratif attaché de direction et chef de cellule. Expliquer les HAQAA aux doyens responsables de master et centres de recherche. Utiliser les HAQAA pour faire l'audit interne de l'assurance qualité. Les résultats attendus étaient au nombre de 4. En analysant les résultats présentés des échanges de discussions qui ont eu lieu, on peut affirmer que tous les résultats ont été atteints. Je vous remercie.
You with Cameroon.
Je suis le professeur Jean-Baptiste Bikemba, ambassadeur HAQAA2 et coordonnateur du projet de dissémination, renforcement des capacités en assurance qualité des acteurs de l'enseignement supérieur du Cameroun et du Tchad. Honorables participants, distingués invités, le projet renforcement des capacités en assurance qualité des acteurs de l'enseignement supérieur du Cameroun et du Tchad répond à une problématique conçue à partir de l'observation du fonctionnement en tant qu'entité individuelle des établissements et institutions universitaires de la plupart des pays africains. Seulement, cette vision ne peut pas garantir un enseignement supérieur de qualité en Afrique, car elle ne permet pas d'améliorer la formation pour l'emploi, de faciliter la comparabilité des qualifications et la reconnaissance mutuelle des diplômes, de faciliter et d'encourager la mobilité académique et d'être apte à un environnement concurrentiel d'avenir. L'harmonisation donc de l'enseignement supérieur en Afrique est donc un impératif. Alors, compte tenu du fait que le Cameroun et le Tchad entretiennent une longue tradition d'échange et de mobilité d'étudiants et d'enseignants, il nous a donc semblé nécessaire en tant qu'ambassadeur HAQAA2 de disséminer les connaissances acquises au cours de notre formation aux acteurs de l'enseignement supérieur du Cameroun et du Tchad. Les objectifs visés par ce projet sont entre autres de promouvoir la culture de l'assurance qualité dans les établissements et institutions d'enseignement supérieur du Cameroun et du Tchad, de renforcer les capacités des acteurs de l'enseignement supérieur de ces deux pays sur la mise en œuvre des HAQAA comme outil d'harmonisation et d'accréditation, et enfin de promouvoir le développement des mécanismes d'assurance qualité harmonisés. Ce travail a été rendu possible grâce à l'organisation des séminaires et ateliers de formation, des tables rondes et des dialogues d'échange entre les participants. Honorables participants, pour atteindre nos objectifs, le projet a été subdivisé en 4 activités, à savoir l'activité 1, qui s'est déroulé du 17 au 19 mai 2022 et qui a regroupé les points focaux en assurance qualité des établissements de l'Université de Ngaoundéré. L'activité 2, qui s'est déroulée du 14 au 15 juin 2022 et qui a porté sur la diffusion et le renforcement des capacités en assurance.
Je suis Dr Seydou Baro, coordinateur Burkina du projet de diffusion et de renforcement des capacités de l'initiative HAQAA2. Le projet avait pour objectif de promouvoir les ASG pour favoriser l'accréditation institutionnelle de l'Université Nazi Boni et d'engager la réflexion pour la mise en place d'une agence nationale d'assurance qualité au Burkina Faso. Le projet s'est déroulé sur une période de 6 mois allant de mai à octobre 2022. L'ensemble des activités a été réalisé et le projet a eu comme effet direct l'élaboration d'une feuille de route pour l'accréditation de l'université et surtout l'engagement du directeur général de l'enseignement supérieur pour la mise en place d'un cadre d'échange pour la création d'une agence d'assurance qualité dès le premier trimestre de l'année 2023. Je vous remercie.
We have another project which was conducted in Niger.
Professeur Sabo Hawasseni, ambassadrice HAQAA2 et lauréate du projet dissémination et renforcement donc des capacités de la HAQAA, en collaboration avec l'Université de Tawa. Engagée dans la démarche qualité depuis 2013, l'Université Abdou Moumouni a pour la première fois en 2022, grâce au projet donc de dissémination, organisé une sensibilisation, la formation sur l'évaluation des filières et procéder à l'évaluation d'une filière qui est totalement prête pour chercher l'accréditation nationale. Et au vu donc de l'engouement, de la prise de conscience et de la mobilisation, nous attendons les partenaires financiers et techniques pour nous accompagner et à accélérer le processus d'accréditation de toutes les filières de notre institution.
Bonjour à tous, je suis Dr Amadou Abdoulaye, je suis le responsable de la cellule assurance qualité de l'Université Juba Amani de Tawa. Je voudrais remercier de prime abord tous les acteurs qui nous ont accompagnés dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre de notre projet commun avec l'Université de Niamey, le projet de renforcement des capacités en assurance qualité. Ce projet intervient dans le cadre de l'initiative HAQAA2 qui est pilotée par le DAD et l'OPEAL. À l'Université Jibo Amani de Tawa, la mise en œuvre de ce projet nous a permis de diffuser les principes, les exigences en matière d'assurance qualité auprès de tous les acteurs de la chaîne de la décision à l'Université Jibo Amani. Les activités que nous avons eu à faire ont permis d'atteindre tous ces acteurs-là et nous ont permis de les sensibiliser, nous ont permis de les former sur leurs responsabilités en termes d'implémentation de toutes les exigences de la qualité dans la gouvernance des offres de formation, mais également de l'institution elle-même. Merci beaucoup.
And there was another project in Mali.
L'objectif principal de notre projet est de développer et de renforcer les compétences du personnel enseignant et de l'administration en matière d'assurance qualité, accélérer l'opérationnalisation de nos cellules d'assurance qualité qui constituent le poumon même de l'assurance qualité au sein de nos établissements d'enseignement supérieur afin d'instaurer une culture durable de la qualité.
Au niveau du Mali, le projet que nous avons réalisé, moi et ma collègue Fatoumata Keita de la FLECEL, dans le cadre de l'initiative HAQAA2 a porté évidemment sur l'utilisation des ASG comme étant un outil qui peut appuyer la mise en œuvre d'une politique d'assurance qualité au niveau des institutions d'enseignement supérieur et de recherche scientifique au Mali, que ce soit public ou privé.
So this was a short introduction, a short overview of the 40 national projects. I would like to thank the coordinators for sending in their videos. I know they have put a lot of effort into this. And now the question goes to my colleague, Emile. You have looked quite closely to the projects. What is your impression of the project and what would you conceive as an achievement and some feedback for us, lessons learned?
Merci. Je dirais, nous sommes partis d'un rapport, pour élaborer un rapport synthèse pour l'étude, pour une étude à grande échelle sur les 8 pays francophones. Et à partir de là, on a eu un cliché, ce que j'avais nommé les clichés de l'implémentation des pays francophones bénéficiaires. J'aurais bien voulu, pour aiguiser ma soif, avoir un autre pays comme le Sénégal. Ça m'aurait permis d'arriver à une conclusion de cette étude par rapport à nos recommandations. Et ça, pourquoi je le dis. Alors, pour mener dans cette étude, partir d'un rapport vers une étude, il a été question pour nous d'utiliser une méthodologie purement qualitative pour interviewer les 8 coordonnateurs. Et nous avons 2 sources de données, en fait, les rapports d'activité de chaque coordonnateur et bien évidemment les entrevues, ce qui nous a amené à adopter 2 niveaux d'analyse et 2 postures. Le premier niveau d'analyse était de regarder chaque pays individuellement, regarder les contenus de chaque rapport et de passer des entrevues à ces coordonnateurs. Ce sont des entrevues qui se passaient à 1 à 2. Et par la suite, nous avons eu un deuxième niveau d'analyse qui était celui-là de se projeter, de voir l'ensemble du projet HAQAA en lien avec l'appel à manifestation. Et au niveau de la posture d'analyse, la première posture que nous avons utilisée était une posture restitutive. Et il était question pour nous de restituer fidèlement, nous allons restituer fidèlement des paroles, des faits et gestes des coordonnateurs. Et dans un deuxième temps, on a adopté une posture analytique. Il fallait couper donc à l'analyse des discours que nous avons eu à faire avec les coordonnateurs, une analyse des contenus des rapports, de telle sorte que nous puissions ressortir une analyse pure et simple de ce qui n'a pas été dit et de ce qui est dit. Alors, à cet effet, à partir donc de ces postures, on a pu concevoir un tableau de comparaison entre les 8 pays à partir de certain nombre de thèmes, des défis. Et ce tableau-là nous donnant en fait les défis, les motivations. On a choisi au moins 6 thèmes. Et de ces thèmes-là, nous avons sorti des points de convergence. Vous allez me permettre d'ouvrir, oui. Nous avons sorti des points de convergence. Dans ces points de convergence, on se rend effectivement compte que nos ensembles de pays ont pratiquement les mêmes défis, ont pratiquement les mêmes motivations, ont pratiquement les mêmes effets. Et dans ces points de convergence, je continuerai par les enjeux. Il ressort personnellement qu'on a à la fois les enjeux structurels où tous les coordonnateurs pensent vraiment que les lignes directrices sont véritablement des outils de gouvernance. Ils peuvent aider à la gouvernance universitaire, ils peuvent aider à la qualité académique de la recherche, ils peuvent aider à la fois à l'accessibilité. Ils pensent donc que ces lignes directrices peuvent également booster la mobilisation des financements. Et à court terme, on a senti cet enjeu d'un conflit à la fois, conflit et alliement entre les lignes directrices, les référentiels CAMES, les référentiels nationaux, mais à la fin, vous verrez que tout a été pratiquement aligné. On a ressenti également, dans leur dire l'étroitesse, une nécessité d'élargissement des champs d'action mis en œuvre. Et le plus important qui est ressorti dans leur dire, c'est le renforcement des capacités des personnels. Et l'un des derniers points, puisqu'il y en a eu tellement d'enjeux à ce niveau-là, c'était l'occasion pour eux également de pouvoir redynamiser les liens entre les agences et les services internes d'assurance qualité. Vous verrez que lorsqu'on regarde l'appel à manifestation qui avait été lancé, il y a eu des thématiques qui devaient être développées. On se rend compte qu'on a pu couvrir ces thématiques. 5 pays sur 8 ont utilisé les outils AGS comme auto-évaluation. Au niveau des activités, on se rend effectivement compte que les 8 pays ont utilisé l'activité principale qui était le renforcement des capacités. Un pays a utilisé le benchmarking pour les outils, malgré l'échantillon qui était étroit. Et le plus intéressant que j'ai pu découvrir là, c'est qu'il y a un pays, sur une de ces activités, a décidé de faire une étude qui va aboutir à l'élaboration ou bien à la publication d'un article. Et c'était fort stimulant lorsque j'ai vu cela. Lorsqu'on regarde les défis étaient énormes, je n'en ai piqué 2 ou 3, 4 défis. Je les ai posés pour une question, à savoir comment surmonter les contraintes budgétaires, comment favoriser l'approche inclusive, que l'assurance qualité ne soit plus seulement une affaire de qualitatistes ou bien une affaire de chef d'établissement, comment adresser des changements de ressources. On sent une très grande instabilité au niveau de nos dirigeants, au niveau de nos acteurs d'assurance qualité, et ça a une répercussion tout au long du projet. Comment respecter les délais courts? C'était l'un des défis également. Et comment encourager l'adoption institutionnelle de ces produits et comment s'approprier les délais et comment surmonter aux résistances. Et généralement, les résistances provenaient beaucoup plus des enseignants que d'autres personnes. Alors, je pars dans un constat qui était très simple. J'ai pris quelques constats. Avant les constats, il y avait quand même des facteurs à succès. Il y a eu des facteurs à succès. Il ressort que le leadership de la direction, c'est-à-dire l'implication à fond des dirigeants, a permis de mener à bien leur projet. La sensibilisation, ils ont fait une très bonne sensibilisation. On s'est également rendu compte que les formations que ces ambassadeurs ont eu à recevoir, ils étaient bien outillés. On avait des ambassadeurs extrêmement bien outillés. Dans un contexte où les enseignants sont résistants, si vous avez des ambassadeurs qui ne sont pas outillés, je vous assure, vous n'aurez pas de résultats. Donc, bravo aux formateurs HAQAA. On ressent de ces coordonnateurs, de ces participants, à travers les contenus de leur rapport, la nécessité d'implication, une forte implication des agences. Ils disent que c'est grâce à l'implication des agences, à l'implication de la tutelle, qu'ils ont pu avoir ces résultats. C'est tout là. Et on ressent encore en termes de facteurs de succès, ils ont beaucoup apprécié l'accompagnement des experts. Avant, pendant, et peut-être après, ils vont le mettre au niveau des recommandations. Alors, pour ne pas finir en termes de facteurs de succès, le financement d'aide, ils l'ont beaucoup appuyé, ils l'ont beaucoup apprécié. Ils ont apprécié beaucoup plus la flexibilité qui existait et la confiance qui s'est installée entre les coordonnateurs et le top management. Nous sommes dans des contextes, vous savez, nos contextes en Afrique francophone, des contextes de grève, des contextes de coup d'État, tous ces contextes. S'il n'y a pas une certaine flexibilité, et je vous avoue, vous avez fait quelque chose de formidable et s'est installé une confiance entre les coordonnateurs et les équipes projets. Ça a permis de mener à bon port les différents projets. L'une, je ne peux pas le mentionner, ils ont eu à dire, il y a le top management du projet qui était là chaque jour et nuit pour le booster et avancer. Ça fait partie des qualités pour le projet. Alors, les effets, on a senti un engagement des dirigeants, on a senti un fort intérêt bizarrement des enseignants, a fait de la recherche, a fait sur l'enseignement supérieur, etc. Les leçons apprises tout au long de ce projet, on a senti, la première leçon, c'est le calibrage des projets. Il faut bien les calibrer. On a tellement d'ambition, on a tellement d'ambition, tellement de choses, qu'on a tendance à avoir des projets qui sont extrêmement grands, alors que les fonds sont assez minimes. Et l'un des points que j'ai beaucoup souligné, c'est la nécessité d'une sensibilisation verticale et horizontale, c'est-à-dire une sorte de démarche inclusive. Il y a eu quand même quelques constats que je voudrais ressortir ici. On sent dans ces pays francophones, vous comprenez pourquoi j'ai voulu avoir le Sénégal, on sent une implication à plusieurs vitesses au plan régional, au plan national, et c'est d'autant plus aigu au plan national. C'est-à-dire vous avez des disparités énormes en matière d'assurance qualité. On revoit également le fonctionnement des cellules d'assurance qualité. Le constat, ces cellules ne fonctionnent pas à l'interne dans ces 8 pays-là. Ne fonctionnent pas véritablement. On voit une forte demande, on constate une forte demande de plus en plus d'informations et d'accompagnement. Et vous aimeriez beaucoup plus savoir le constat des experts externes pour le faire. Et on sent aussi la nécessité, comme l'a dit quelqu'un, de passer en fait de la théorie de la formation vers la pratique. Parce que nous parlons théorie chaque fois, nous parlons formation chaque fois, mais lorsqu'on arrive dans nos institutions, les b.a.-ba de la pratique ne sont pas respectés. Comme dernier contrôle, comme dernier constat, on l'a senti, ce fort contrôle institutionnel qui par moment a failli plomber le projet. La présence dont il faudra voir à ce niveau-là. Il y a eu donc des recommandations de ces disent. Ils souhaitent véritablement qu'on continue dans cette lancée de formation de consortium dans des pays. Que ce ne soit pas seulement 1 ou 2 universités, comme on a vu, que ce soit au moins une masterclass d'université qui s'engage dans un projet, maintenir ces consortiums, renforcer le financement et beaucoup plus, et là j'insiste, comme ils l'ont dit, une implication sérieuse des agences et des directions. Là où il y a des conseils ou bien des comités d'université, il faut véritablement les impliquer dans ces projets-là. Ou bien nous aurons toujours un truc à plusieurs vitesses. Et comme recommandation également, ils ont souhaité avoir un très bon accompagnement des experts avant, pendant et après le projet. Et comme dernière recommandation, c'est l'accompagnement des SIAC, des cellules internes d'assurance qualité. Oui, je l'ai vu en projet via HAQAA2, de voir le suivi, la consolidation des projets à travers les cellules. Comme je l'ai toujours dit lorsque j'ai fait des formations d'assurance qualité, la cellule d'assurance interne, comme Jean-Baptiste qui prêche dans le désert. Repentez-vous, repentez-vous. Alors, si vous n'avez pas ces cellules qui fonctionnent, on a beau faire des projets, mais le suivi ne sera pas atteint. Et ce suivi ne peut être atteint que s'il y en a des cellules d'assurance qualité qui fonctionnent. Donc, il faut penser à un accompagnement dans ce sens, un accompagnement qui cherche à consolider les résultats que nous avons eu maintenant dans 1 ou 2 ou 3 ans. Alors, je ne saurais terminer en faisant juste sur le fonctionnement des suivis internes de l'assurance qualité. Je mène actuellement une étude du côté du Québec, l'expérience entre les universités du Québec et le Chili. Ils veulent voir comment est-ce que fonctionnent les unités d'assurance qualité. Je dois remettre ce rapport la semaine prochaine. Et là, j'ai eu à interviewer tous les dirigeants des unités d'assurance qualité au niveau du réseau Québec. Et un point qui est extrêmement important que je voudrais partager avec vous. Une réflexion importante à ce niveau-là. Et il faut qu'on sorte un peu de la collégialité qui anime nos universités vers le managérialisme. c'est-à-dire une sorte d'ouverture pour avoir des véritables professionnels de l'enseignement supérieur. Ceux qui s'intéressent à la gestion des cellules internes d'assurance qualité. Sur ces universités du réseau Québec, les meilleures universités qui ont produit des bons rapports, qui ont été à temps vis-à-vis du Bureau de coopération internationale, ce sont les universités qui avaient à l'instant des ressources uniquement dédiées à l'assurance qualité interne, des professionnels de l'assurance qualité interne. C'est ce plaidoyer que je voudrais vous lancer pour que nos projets que nous lançons après le suivi, qu'on puisse avoir ne serait-ce que des gens qui vont faire ce suivi. Donc, c'est par là que je voulais terminer et je vous remercie de votre aimable attention.
Merci beaucoup, Emile. Thank you. And I know you have taken a lot of time to looking really closely to the reports, and you talked to each and every coordinator. Thank you for pointing out some success factors and some challenges. And really, we need honest feedback from your side and to move forward. And if we plan some future similar projects, we need the honest feedback. And I think we all have seen there are very different projects because our intention was to really allow the project coordinators to give them as much freedom to design a project which is adapted to the local needs and to the local context, using the HAQAA as a tool for further enhancement. So I would like to last question to each of one of you before we close and go for lunch. So you have taken the time to look at the project and the dissemination projects in an overarching report. You have done a holistic approach. So what would you say is the main achievement and one lesson learned of the projects?
So I really do think that the HAQAA project has created the space and given us on the continent the support and the resources to construct our own African discourse on quality assurance, both internal and external quality assurance. We have created a network of practitioners, and we are able to now disseminate that. We've become disciples that are working not just in our own countries, but even across countries to build capacity. So I think that this has been amazing, an amazing success, and it doesn't stop with this project. It will continue to move like tentacles right across our continent. Thank you.
Moni. Alors, Émile, tu as vu cette approche, l'idée des projets de dissémination. What is your take on it, your main takeaway?
Je voudrais juste dire ce proverbe que j'ai pris de mes amis malgaches en les interviewant. Ils voulaient là interpeller la notion de partie prenante. Ils lui disaient le crachat peut provoquer une inondation. Un crachat peut provoquer une inondation. Et là, il voulait dire exactement quoi? L'implication de chaque partie prenante, soit minime, soit telle, peut nous permettre d'aboutir à des résultats intéressants. Et ces projets justement de dissémination montrent que lorsque les uns et les autres s'y mettent, chacun à son niveau, les enseignants à leur niveau, le personnel à leur niveau, les dirigeants s'impliquent un tout petit peu, on aboutit à quelque chose de merveilleux. Alors, Sarah, je pense que ce sont des projets qu'il faut continuer à les promouvoir, à mieux les encadrer, et ça permettra de mieux suivre les lignes directrices d'assurance qualité au niveau de l'Afrique. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Emile. And I know our Secretary General of the Association of African Universities, he would like to make a comment. So please, Professor Lushula.
It will be good for me to identify the context in which I want to make this contribution. In 2007, I was the coordinator of the World Bank Quality Assurance Project for the whole of Africa. as of that time, we noticed that many countries in Africa do not have national quality regulatory agency. And we started the move to build up capacity of nations to have regulatory agencies. In 2009, I moved over to the African Union Commission. And I was also involved with quality assurance higher education. And my observation then is that we have different quality assurance initiatives in Africa. Sorry to say, we have the DAD program, HAQAA program, UNESCO program. And at one point, we thought that it's high time we build an African quality assurance system. Really, as I talk today, I'm not sure that we've got there. And while the presentation was going on now, I was just wondering, what is the way ahead? How do we move from here? As we move into HAQAA2, are we going to continue the same way, capacity building workshops, without content, without quality itself? What can we do as Africans to build a African quality assurance system? And that's why I want to thank the two assessors. I really love the comments of the lady about the way ahead. Please, as we move into HAQAA2 in terms of quality assurance, let us leave this issue of national, or let's build an African quality assurance system. Let's be able to build a quality culture. We need to now talk about quality teaching, curriculum development, quality teaching methods. And the lady identified two things. She said, it's time we talk of curriculum transformation in Africa. Innovative pedagogy. Please, as we move into HAQAA2, let's emphasize this, not that of capacity building where we just gather and people talk about activities without impact. I will want us to make a change in terms of quality assurance in Africa. That original objective of having an African quality assurance system, let's bring it up. And I wonder how AAU was excluded from this network since we started it in 2007. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, for that really important comment. And I agree, we are here to acknowledge what has been happened, but we also need to take stock and to look into the future. So I really would like to appreciate the work you are doing. I'm looking forward to the report so that we can learn and look and go in a good way forward. So now I have heard that lunch is ready. I will hand over to our lady in charge. Marie, please, we are waiting for instructions, and I would like to thank you again. Thanks also to my colleague Tarani, who put a lot of effort in presenting and making this presentation. And as I said, after lunch, we will have a session where we can further engage and network and talk to the project coordinators and talk to each other. And we will have a big session where you can all bring in your comments and questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session that's showing us how HAQAA2 has got an impact in the whole of Africa. Thank you. Yeah, now we've come to the end of morning session. We are going for lunch. Lunch will be served in the band hall. The ushers will direct you to the place. You've been given lunch coupons. So some of you who didn't get the lunch coupons, the ushers are behind there. You'll get them before you go for lunch. This room is safe. It will be locked, so you can leave behind your laptops. Thank you. See you 2:45. Please keep time, 2:45. Thank you.